So John, the breakfast cereal Hickenlooper, shoved his foot in his mouth in a way I thought was probably impossible before he did it. I mean, this is so cringeworthy. I cringed for 3 days straight. I cringed so hard, I considered a new nickname for the breakfast cereal. Because John Hickenlooper isn't good enough. I think Creepy John Hickenlooper is the way to go. Or Creepy John, the breakfast cereal Hickenlooper. Kind of getting too long. I gotcha. And we're not abandoning the breakfast cereal. This is too glorious. We can't abandon that. Look at what he said at his CNN town hall. I don't even know if my commentary adds anything to this story. It's just insane enough as is. Watch.
Back with Governor John Hickenlooper for a CNN Democratic presidential town hall. We have one more audience question, but before we get to that, we've been looking at your memoir, and you have a lot of interesting stories in that book. One of them is about the time you went to see an X-rated movie with your mother. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you so much for that question.
Anytime.
I thought it was better to write a book to let people really see who you were and the dumb things you did as well as the smart things.
And where is that on the spectrum?
On the dumb side.
Okay.
I was the youngest of four, and as I said, my dad died right after I turned 8, and my mother and I had a pretty tempestuous relationship. She was just the most amazing person. And I went off to college, and for the first time, she was alone in the house. And I didn't realize how powerful that was until I got home at Thanksgiving. I promised, I called a friend in Philadelphia, and these were I didn't know what an X movie was. We thought it was a little naughty, but we didn't think it was that bad. Again, you got to understand, I was 18 years old. And so I came home, and my mother hated to cook. I mean, she was just a strong, powerful woman who got stuff done in her own right. And I got home, and she had this huge dinner laid out. And I said, I promised Jed that we would go to the movie theater and see this new movie. You want to come? And it's an X movie. I don't know. I was sure that she wouldn't say no. I made a mistake. And she said, I'd love to go, because she didn't want to be left alone in the house again.
It was a pretty famous movie, too.
So I took my mother to see Deep Throat. And to her credit, the first scene is... I didn't ask the question. But I will tell you that my mother was, I'm sure she was mortified. And I said repeatedly, I think we should leave, I think we should go. And my mother was the kind of person that rarely went to a movie. She thought almost every movie would get on TV. Obviously not this one. But she really, once she paid, she was going to stay. And at the end, she knew that I was humiliated. And as we drove home, and you know how the dashboard in the old cars had that kind of green light? And I asked her, I said, well, that was some experience. And she says, well, I thought the lighting was very good in the movie. I thought I saw a little grin in that green light.
What the fuck? Bro, what the fuck are you doing? Why would you tell that story in your book? Why would you do that to yourself? You told a story about seeing a porno with your mom. There's no way to talk your way out of that one, bro. There's no way. Even Trump couldn't bulldoze his way out of that one, and Trump is notorious for bulldozing his way out of everything. Even Trump would be like, yeah, well, it wasn't good. It was bad. Not good. Not good. He tells a long story as if any of the details of the story kind of mitigate how terrible it is. Well, I was talking to my friend Johnny from Philadelphia, and me and Johnny were going to go see a movie, and I felt bad my mom was staying home. I said, Mom, you want to come with us? She said, sure. And so I made a mistake, and there was, at the times of the movie, when dudes were getting blown, I said, I don't know, I think we should leave. And Mom was like, no, it's okay. Oh, no, stop it. The worst part of this story is that as he told it, everybody had to immediately think of like, oh my God, I'm mortified at hearing that. It's like if I had seen a porno with my mom, and then the immediate reaction to that is cringing your face into oblivion where it collapses and implodes in on itself. Like, apparently that's the noise an imploding face makes. He said, I didn't know what an X-rated movie was. I've never heard that excuse before. I didn't know what an X-rated movie was. What do you think it was? What do you think? You're going to see Rugrats in Paris or some shit? Is that like what? What could it possibly be? What could it possibly be? And he says, hey, give me a break. I was 18. That makes the story worse, not better. And it's one thing if you misread it, you didn't know it wasn't X-rated, you thought it was some sort of spy thing, deep throat spy movie or whatever, and you went and you're like 14, and then your mom's like, oh, what? But no, you were 18, and you sat through the whole thing, and it was X-rated, and you say you didn't know what X-rated meant. John. You know, it's funny because you guys know me, man. I'm a policy guy. I'm a policy guy 100%, and this has nothing to do with policy, so technically I should overlook it. But there is one argument that I think actually in this rare instance is incredibly poignant. And that argument is judgment. What's your judgment like? Your judgment was so bad that as an 18-year-old, you saw porn with your mom. That's the worst judgment ever. We would have John Hickenlooper, the breakfast cereal, would be the most naive president in American history. The most naive president. You know, he'd have peace negotiations with the Taliban in Afghanistan, and they'd be like, we brought you a drink. Would you like to try it? We haven't put anything in it, we promise. And he's like, oh, sure. Thank you, I appreciate it. They got me a drink. Guys, they got me a drink. The Taliban's not so bad after all. Very tasty. What would you call this? Oh! God damn, this is the second most naive thing I ever did. Behind seeing a porno with my mom.